COVID-19 pandemic chronology video for today. Today is the Sunday, 23 October 2022. I'm going to try and make this update brief. I have one update related to pandemic pit crew writing and publishing work on Wikipedia, and then a second update related to the moths and corn. So the first update is kind of a brief, if I had to describe kind of my approach for writing about junior competitors in aquatic sports, which is something junior competitors were hit harder than other groups in the international sporting competition realm. As far as I understand, at least part of that is just getting that first competition, kind of getting the career started, that though that could affect older individuals who are just starting their career as well. So you could say there's junior swimmer, people just starting their swimming career perhaps is a more inclusive term, but I've been focusing on junior competitors. There are junior championships and stuff like that. And so what is my mentality, approach, philosophy for writing about them? Well, it kind of has stemmed a bit from my approach comes from teaching swim lessons and coaching swim team. So I have interacted and being a lifeguard, and perhaps being a lifeguard in my own experience, competing on a swim team for over a decade comes into it as well. Is kind of a lifeguard's a perfect example of I'm on duty, I'm at the pool, kids come to the pool, their parents drop them off, and they're like, this is great, there is a lifeguard on duty, we can leave the kids here, it's the lifeguard's job to save the kid if something goes wrong. That's literally what we're paid for, or I was paid for. And so the parents can just drop the kids off, the kids can play for a few hours in open swim, and the parents can go do something. They don't have to be watching their kids 100% of the time, because there's this professional lifeguard, it's whose job it is to make sure all swimmers, the kids and everybody else, are safe. And if something happens, to handle that something. The parent is not the one making the rescue kind of thing. Or at least like in that context, right? So it's kind of taking that and being like, that combined with on swim team, and swim lessons were the same. It was kind of not all parents knew how to swim, but they wanted their kids to know how to swim. So they'd bring them in and be like, you teach them what to do. And as someone, so kind of taking that and thinking about the competition space, I competed for over a decade. Some parents have kids who swim and they didn't ever compete in swimming. They weren't ever on a swim team, and their kids are out there on the international competition. And they might like contribute to the swim club their kids a part of. Like my parents timed and helped with ribbons and volunteering at swim meets and stuff like that. So they're not foreign to it, but it's also, they don't have that competition experience. So it's a bit of me. And then I coached swim team and that kind of thing. And one of the things my parents did when I was on swim team, until I was old enough to do it myself, was they would write down my personal best times. We have a journal. We still have the journal, the tablet, kind of, where we'd write down all my times, but then also kind of like, oh, that was a personal best time. And it was fun to have that written down each time, kind of thing. And so I'm approaching my writing and publishing on Wikipedia, my pandemic pit crew work about junior competitors in aquatic sports, is kind of taking those four experiences. So being a competitor on a swim team, teaching swim lessons, being a lifeguard, being a swim coach, and being like, I want to make this page, so it's open to edit to anybody, so anybody could contribute. But especially as these competitors get older, I know my parents enjoyed having me do it myself, and it's fun. They get joy from seeing other people writing or covering me or my sister or other family members, especially when it's done well. And so it's a bit of me giving the parents a break so the parents can go to a swimming competition and just watch the kids swim and know that somewhere somebody is dedicated to documenting, your kid just swam a personal best time, or your kid just won a medal, right? I guess it's thinking about it both from this is for juniors competitors specifically. It's about maintaining accuracy of the person and kind of thinking about, okay, somebody just made that comment in an interview and that might have hurt this swimmer. So how do I frame it to build this swimmer who just might have been attacked by this other swimmer up? How do I build them up on the page while still maintaining a neutral tone? So that kind of thing. Like, I was in competitive swimming for over a decade, and I'm familiar with a lot of those kind of mean girl, but also mean boy tactics that are just kind of intended to attack a person's self-confidence. So instead of being like, okay, well, I'm happy I just watched that interview, now I know to phrase it as this, right? That kind of thing. So like a quality, like support, but neutral, like not going overboard, but then also kind of from the parent's perspective of they can kind of take a step back and just enjoy what their kid is doing. And maybe they did not understand it that well to begin with. And so in that sense, it actually allows them a chance to be like, hey, you know, and just stepping back and watching and not actually helping out because these are like global competitions or whatever, and reading the Wikipedia page, maybe I learned something. Right, or like maybe speaking from the parent's perspective, maybe they learned something or something clicks that didn't click before. So that's kind of my approach, is not just thinking of it as the page subbook, but also thinking about this person's 13 years old. She has parents. Makes them like, I was a swim coach for a team, and I think we had over 100 kids on the team, right? The swimmers aren't always the problem. Sometimes it's the interactions with the parents and the other family members and stuff like that. So thinking about satisfying not just the spectators or the fans that might come to the page, other page contributors and editors, the swimmer or the subject or the diver or the artistic swimmer of the page, not just thinking about them, but thinking about their family as well, kind of thing. So that's the first update. Second update, moths and corn. We still do have the moths and corn. It's very gradually decreasing in numbers, and as the corn goes away, the number of moths decrease too, but it's an ongoing thing, so we still have it, and this is essentially an update. And that was a problem that I've only encountered during the pandemic, so that's how it's related to the pandemic. But those are my 2 COVID-19 pandemic in my life updates for today, Sunday, 23 October 2022. Hope your weekend ends peacefully, be it this weekend or a different